So here's another example where we're going to try to write out a rule to describe a function. I have a lot of my common relations over here. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just organize this into a table right off the bat. So I wrote out my ordered pairs, and I'm going to try to figure out what function will get me from my x to my y here, okay? Well, first off, I do notice again that when I plug in 0, I get 0. So I don't think there's going to be any adding in this particular function. Now, I also notice that as I travel from one input to the next, I am not increasing by a constant amount here at all. And in fact, compared to my other function, I seem to be increasing very rapidly. So I know that this isn't going to be a linear function, and I have a hint or an inkling that this isn't going to be a square function either. Now, a cube function kind of seems more up our alley, but I'm going to just go ahead and just start with the square function and see how that behaves here. The 0 input isn't very interesting, so I'll go ahead and jump ahead to the input of 1. So I input 1, and then I'm going to square that. And again, I don't think I'm going to add anything to it, so I'm going to go ahead and just multiply that by 4. Right? 4 times 1 squared will get me the 4 I'm looking for. And then I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to change my input for the next one. And oh, that would equal 16, which is clearly not 32. So I feel pretty confident in this case it's not going to be a square function either. So let's go ahead and try that cube function. So trying the cube function here, and crossing that out, I'm going to plug in the 1, and 1 cubed times 4 would get me 4. So now let's try that with our second input here. Again, that same function, 4 times the input squared. And so that would be 4 times 8, which is 32. Okay, well that's looking good. Let's try it again. 4 times our input squared, which in this case is 3, so that's 4 times 27, which, yeah, that's 108 as well. And you can check it for the 4, but it looks like all we need to do is cube our input and then multiply it by 4. So our general rule here is just going to be y equals 4 times x cubed. And in this case, those parentheses there would be unnecessary. But there we have a formalized definition of the relationship described by this series of ordered pairs.